booties for black girl nerds.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Malcolm, for your time. I'm very excited to be with all of you today. As I'm sure you've heard a gajillion times, people are super excited to see the series, to reconnect with these characters that are very beloved to us, particularly us in the Black community. And the thing I thought of when I saw that the series was coming back is the age where we are now, and how people used to say, "Oh, you're having a midlife crisis when you get to this age." I don't think that's a thing now that I finally got here. I think it's just more of a discovery and being assured in who you are. Is that where these characters, Shelby and everybody, is that where they are now? Is it a period of self-discovery, or is it more of a period of crisis for them over the course of the season?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's a very astute, observation. I think that it's so funny, like when we think about age and how we, when we're like 10 or 15, we're like, oh, 50's old. And you're like, yo, like you get to 50, you're like, well, I don't feel old. I mean, your body starts feeling a little bit like, betraying you and things like that. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of self-discovery that happens. And I think a lot of self-discovery has happened since, the pandemic, and we were shut in for so long, for 2 years straight. It was, kind of a crazy time that there's a lot of reevaluation that's going on. And we're certainly catching these characters at that time in their lives. So yeah, I mean, I think it's accurate. I think that like, and in some instances, it can turn into crisis, or at least, be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And am I going to spend the rest of my time doing the same thing?
Mm-hmm. The body thing is real. When I get out of bed in the morning, it sounds like the crypt keeper when my feet hit the floor with all them bones. So I get it.
I'm with you, sis. I'm with you.
But what was most fun is just being able to have this extended time. These are characters that are very beloved to us, and we know about them, but now we get to see more of their day-to-day lives and how they've grown since we were last with them. Would you with that, what did you want this series to not be? I'm sure people had ideas of have ideas of where it's going to go and what we'll further learn about them. But what did you want this not to be?
I don't know if I could say what it didn't want it not to be. I mean, I wanted it to be a very much a continuation of what these characters have been through, and what we've come to expect from the two movies. Let's be consistent with who these characters are and what their growth is, and and some of these tough decisions that these people make. When we come to at this point in our lives, and like we're adulting, and we are raising children, and trying to negotiate marriage, and what is our is our spouse growing at the same rate that we are? Are we on the same page? There's a lot going on there, that I wanted to make sure that we tackled. And in partnering with Dayna, we did that.
Mm-hmm. Talking to some of the cast members today, I asked them what that first day was like, being back all together again, and they all had some really funny answers about how chatty and just being back together again, and just saying they probably got on your nerves that first day. What was the first day for you, seeing them all back together again? Did you have any reflections, or when you kind of surveyed the room, what did you feel inside? What did you think about?
What's funny is like they weren't all back on the same first day. And so, yeah, they're probably accurate, but they did get on my nerves. It absolutely got on my nerves, but that's par for the course. It's like, they're having a good time, and they're want to be serious about their character and how they're going to embody them. And so, but at the same time, they have a good time together. And that doesn't always translate into like the best work environment for production. But at the same time, you can't pay for that kind of chemistry. You cannot get that kind of like camaraderie, being as authentic as it gets displayed in this movie and in this franchise, in this television show.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you for bringing them back together, and with your wonderful talent, with their wonderful talents. It's very meaningful to me. I love this franchise, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. Well, thank you guys. It is good to be with you both today. I was very excited about it. No, hello, kids.
Hello. How you doing?
I was very excited to be with you guys today because, like I'm sure you've heard umpteenth times, everyone loves this franchise, the films and the parts, and we all kind of came to age together because we're all in roughly the same age group. Regina, I'll begin with you. People used to like to use the term midlife crisis at this stage, and I don't really think that's a thing anymore. You know, you get into a certain higher awareness or a fearlessness at this stage in your life. Is that where Candace is during this series as we get to have this more extended view into who she is and who the other characters are?
Yeah, I think, in the beginning, Candace, there's a discovery that she has about herself, and she moves forward. There are parts of her life that are very certain and solid, her marriage, how she feels as a mom. But I think we discover where her insecurities lie, and we watch her kind of move through that and come to a place where she does feel solid about who she is on every level.
Morris, for you, for Lance, does he have a sort of solid quality too? Because we've lived with a lot of grief with him in our past journey with him, but through that grief can come great things. So,
yes.
Yes.
Great things can come from that. Is that a fair assessment of his life path at this point for the series?
I definitely do. I think the one thing, at least particularly when I'm grieving over something, I'm reevaluating everything that's going on in my life, and not only just where I've been, where I am at the moment, and how can I change and get better going into the future on a number of different levels, on a spiritual level, just a number of different levels. And so Lance is definitely exploring and evaluating a lot of things in his life and exploring a lot of things in his life at this moment.
A genius spelunker at this point, I guess. A genius spelunker. Regina, back over to you. This series allows us to take a more in-depth, more time with the characters that we love. What is the best part of just having these extended hours to dive deeper into who everyone is?
I mean, I really think that's it right there. The extra time allows us to spend more time with the characters and individually, as couples, alone, as friends, and then the group together. And so, I think ultimately, this whole franchise has been about the friendships and the relationships and how you see the ups and downs, but it's where they land during those highs and lows of life. So I think, again, it's just, it always feels like it goes back to the friendships.
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean? And
that's what
their connection.
Yeah, the friendship and the love, the respect that through all the characters. It prevails, and we're able to overcome everything because of that.
What was day one back all together? I mean, I'm sure that was a very sexy table read or whatever that day one is, where you all finally get back together and see and hug and love on each other. What did you guys, Regina, what did you guys do on the first day you were able to get all back together again?
I think the first day we were all on set together, we just reminded Malcolm of why he shouldn't do this again. Because we were just talking
Very
and
much
laughing and just being, because we were like, oh yay, like we were excited that we were all together because you shoot, the first time I think we saw each other was on the table read. I mean, not at the table, it was a Zoom.
It was Zoom, yeah.
Zoom. So by the time we got to New York, got in person, and then got to be on set, every single one of us,
it's over. I wouldn't wish that upon any director, any producer, to have all of us on set at the same time. That's rough.
Hard day for them, fun day for us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Very, very fun for us. It's just good to see everybody back in wardrobe and on set and camera having fun talking. And then I think that was a day that Candace and Merch were having a good time. It was a day. I can't tell you what happened, but Candace and Merch were yeah, I was sitting back. I was supposed to be working, but I was just watching them just having a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun day.
I'm going to see all the videos on you guys' phone from set, but they're telling me wrap it up. So I thank you. You guys loved. I've seen the first 3 episodes. Thank you for your time. So happy to see you all together. Then it's like Black Hollywood royalty for real.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys
so much.
Thank you so much. Hi, Dayna. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. I was very excited when I'm sure you've heard a gajillion times since the project was announced that people are excited to see all these beloved characters come back. And I got to thinking about being young and how they say, oh, when you get to this age, you're hitting like a midlife crisis. Now that I'm here, that's not a thing. I don't think that's real. I think it's more of a self-discovery, know thyself period in my life, being secure in who I am. So with these characters, do they have the same trajectory, I guess you could say, during the series? Are they in a know thyself phase, or are they in a midlife crisis phase?
Well, it's, one of my favorite themes, and one of the things that excited me about telling this story with these characters was the idea of midlife metamorphosis. Like that is, certainly feels real for me as well. As I approach midlife, I feel like it's some of the best times of my life. People try to show me pictures of me when I was 23. I'm like, please don't. I would much rather look at a picture of myself now. And so, I agree with you, right? Like it's midlife doesn't have to be about crisis at all. And so I would say it's a mix for these characters. What's exciting about it is, as we are bringing these characters that we've grown up with and known for a while forward into the present day, they're going through a mix, right? So they're being challenged in different ways, but for many of them, they go through, I would say, this roller coaster where there might be moments of crisis, but for many of them, it's about a metamorphosis. It's about getting to this point in their life and going, do I want to still be doing what I've been doing for the last 20 years, or being hit with challenges that take them in new directions? And so that's why, for me, the theme of midlife metamorphosis was so exciting, because they're going through big changes that are hitting them in ways that are powerful, and it's taking them in new directions. And that's what I think, for me, it's, seeing adult coming of age stories is something that I think is really powerful. And I think if we're lucky, we come of age throughout our lives.
Mm-hmm. I love that. When you're 40-ish, as these, about the range at 30-ish, 40-ish, where these characters are now, they're in the olden days of storytelling. It was like you had to be firm and secure, and even if you hated what you were doing, you stayed there. You had to be loyal. But it's fun to see these people explore these new aspects of their lives that they couldn't before. Is that probably the biggest benefit of having the series format versus doing a film with these characters?
Yes, I would say it is. That's certainly what excited me about it. You know what I mean? As someone who is passionate about television and does most of my art, is in television. That's what I love about it, is that you get the opportunity, right? As you're saying, over 8 episodes, we get to explore and really dig into these characters. And that's what I love, is you get a chance to really explore, like, what does that look like? What is it? What is that evolution, that personal growth arc for each of these characters? What does that look like, right? And in a way that you can't do in a closed-ended 90-minute story, right? And particularly for me, it was exciting, as a Black woman, it was exciting for me to look at the women in the story, and the women in the series in a way that hadn't necessarily been explored in the same way. The film is called The Best Man. Malcolm is very open about talking about, when he first wrote The Best Man, he was excited about writing a romantic dramedy from a Black male perspective, right? But for me, joining him for this iteration, I was excited about exploring this and really deepening the arcs for the women in the series, and having 8 hours to do that was really exciting to me.
And lastly, what did the first day look like for you when you got to kind of take it all in? What was day one for you on set with all these people?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, as you can imagine, this is such a it's like being, called into the major leagues, right? This cast, right, is such a cast of heavy hitters and we got the whole band back together, which is, it speaks to their genuine love for each other, right? They've all been on this journey for 20 something years with each other, and they do have this genuine beautiful friendship with each other, that is so powerful, and that allows us to be able to bring them back together and tell these stories again and tell new stories. So it was day one was really fun. Like our day one was also like, wow, here we go, right? And like in New York City, as someone who's lived on the West Coast my entire life, so day one was cold in March on the East Coast, but day one was also the beginning of a beautiful and wild ride of just getting a chance to join this cast and Malcolm and go on this beautiful journey of like bringing, marrying the past to the present and bringing these characters forward into today. And it was a beautiful ride.
Absolutely. And they still all fine too. All of them.
Right? It's like
Crazy.
Amazing and annoying all at the same time. Like it's like this beautiful miracle, and none of them will tell me like I feel like they all share in some secret that nobody will tell me. That's the one thing I can't get out of them is how y'all still this amazing and fine.
They sleep in a cryogenic chamber at night. That's what I heard. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. I think they do. They all pass it around. That's the secret.
Well, I thank you so much for your wonderful talent and bringing all these people back to get together again. It's amazing. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far, and I can't wait to see the rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys, I'm so happy to be back with you, the both of you, favorites of mine. I feel like we all were in our adult years and growing at the same rate because I'm in the same age range too. And I think about how when you're young, they say, oh, when you hit a certain age, you're in a midlife crisis. Now that I'm here, that's totally not a thing. So beginning with you, Melissa, for Shelby, we're picking up where the films have left off and we're getting to reconnect with all of our favorite characters. At this age where she is now, would you say she's in a more know thyself stage in her life or a legitimate crisis in her life?
I would say right in the middle. I'd say a little bit of both, because she definitely she has to know thyself, number one, and she knows thyself enough to know that there's some things that she has to change in order to get what she wants and to progress in life and as a woman. The midlife situation, I think a lot of it is just things that happen just as a woman and evolving and getting older as a woman in this society where she is a successful woman. And she's coming against things that just with this generation, when it comes to ageism, being a woman in the business, and also being a woman that is, smart and, self-made and successful. With that along comes a lot of challenges, which is where the midlife crisis would come in, because, she's faced with, when you get to a certain age, it's almost like, I don't want to say you're disposable, but in a way where with this generation, everything is built around youth. And that's what's celebrated.
You become obsolete.
That is what's celebrated. Yeah. And it's unfortunate because that's real in real life. And so I think that they wanted to bring that into the show a bit. And it's real. But I think the other side of it, with going back to the other side of knowing thyself, she really this time around really wants to find love, and not just by controlling the situation, not by forcing the situation, but by allowing the situation. And I think that she wants to live a more full life like the rest of her friends. They seem to have the whole picture, except maybe for Nia Long's character. But for now, she's been fighting. She's been fighting and scrapping and clawing her way for everything that she's gotten up until this point. So she has to know herself enough that she has to change some things in order for her life to progress as a woman and, to get everything that she wants.
Mhm. Terrence, for you, for Quentin, you know, we've spent time, love him, hate him, in between, indifferent. You know, I was always team Quentin. Quentin tickles me to death because I know a lot of Quentins in my life. My dad was a Quentin. So it's been interesting to kind of ponder where he is at this stage in his life. How much of himself does he always seem so self-assured and very in tune with who he was and who he is and what makes him tick. So at this stage, is that a further deepening relationship, or as he gets to know himself better, does he sort of start to lose control a little bit and, you know, learn new things about himself at this stage?
Well, calling you right now from a bell tower in Iraq, it adds perspective. That's this background that we have right here. No matter where he thinks he's at, there's some battle taking place. You know, battle with his father, battle with himself, battle with expectation. You know, the one thing about having a lot of opportunities and a lot of gifts, then you have the responsibility of doing something with it, especially juxtaposed to your friend's Merch, who's built his own law firm and they're taking care of kids and promoting all of this stuff. All you're doing is making money. You've got all of his other friends that's growing. And that's the story. It's the story of this growth of how much do you take in for self and how much do you spend back out and spend on your friends, because when you do work together, that cooperative nature, that makes something. You make generations better. And that's something we're learning and passing the torch and accepting the future of who these people are, and remembering your children are not your children. They come through you, but not from you.
See, you get deep on me and they're giving me the hook like the Sandman. I will close and say thank you guys. I am so happy to be seeing you all and having this extended time with all of your characters and deepening our relationships. Thank you for your time, and super excited to see people react. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.